In this video, I'll discuss the tools, tips, pros and cons of using 3x5 cards to manage the information in your adventures. The 3x5 card has been around a long time. It gets its name because it's 3 inches high by 5 inches wide. So I first was seeing them used probably in high school with debate when I was going through. People prepared their things. Probably don't do that today. This is a deck that I have for an old dungeon that's there. Notice I have the little tabs. I've used color-coded cards in some places. If you're going to use 3x5 cards, I highly suggest getting one of these. This is a 3-hole punch, one that has adjustable holes, because that way you can adjust it so you can put 2 holes in your cards. Then you can buy one of these. This is, as you can see, it opens up here. They come in various sizes. I have a small one over here. You can find them in, they're the little rings. It allows you to use to keep your 3x5 cards organized. If you can get the little tabs, I've used those. That works out well. I have different colors. This is another deck for another dungeon. I have many. I've done this over the years. Now, you can always just get the classic lined 3x5 card and do that and type it all up or write it all up. But I think getting the blank ones, today you can get the blank ones and use them in your printer. In fact, I printed these out just to make sure I could do it on my printer. Today it's more common for printers to be able to handle smaller form paper because you want to be able to print photos, so photo paper. These, I don't know if you can see in the camera, these I bought, these are printed out. When I bought the cards for these, like I said, I've been doing this for a long time. So you could actually buy a case. I bought a case of 3x5 cards for fan-fold printers. That's when you go back to the old pin-fed printer that would strike and print them out. And so I did those, and I used to print them up and do that in a text processor, very old. Today, on most printers, as maybe you can see in the back of me, I've got a Pixma, Canon Pixma printer, a multifunction thing that will scan and copy, that you print. And if you're interested, leave some comments and I'll go through how to set up Word, which is what I used. I just used Word, and it would set up to print in 2 columns. So you could print the information in 2 columns and get it there. Using the cards, you could either use the back if you get the ones with lines, but I kind of like the ones without, and do that. Honestly, I don't recommend it today because you drop it. The biggest thing for me is that there is no easy way to back it up. You drop this in the, if you just using rubber bands and the rubber band breaks and it falls all over, you've got to figure out how to reorganize it, and that's important that you've labeled if you're going to label it, make sure that you got the level or how to locate it and whatever. Back when I started doing this, I had the level and I had the room number or letter that was there, so you could go through. and you have that on every deck. That goes back to when I originally started programming, and you did it back with the old punch cards. I've actually done those. And the punch cards, you learn the tools and techniques from dealing with punch cards. The same thing you apply to these things, that you want to keep them in order. But today I recommend that you do something like this. This is much better, much better. And one of the real advantages is that you can back it up. I can think about, how do I back up this deck? Okay, I can start talking about Xeroxing it, and maybe if your multifunction printer, copier, scanner, whatever, could actually do that, that would be interesting to see if it could handle taking 3x5 cards. But if you drop the deck in the mud, it sort of ruins it. These here were printed out, and I had the files. I still have the files for these. So many of these things here, like this is level 4, room B, and type it all out. I typed it up, or printed it up, or generated and printed all out on the cards. And do that, but I think it's much easier to use a tablet if you can afford it. Now, granted, these are cheap. You can get 3x5 cards very cheaply. I think the last time I bought a deck, which is quite a few years ago, I found them. There was a supply. I think it was in a hobby store, and they had stacks of them that they were remaindering. And I think I paid less than $1 a pack for them. So you could get 100 cards, which is a decent size dungeon. I mean, as you can see, that's about 100 cards. So some of my dungeons have, are much thicker than a deck of cards. They're 200-300 cards thick. Where others are smaller and thinner, and I have a stack of other ones on the shelf over there that I'm slowly moving to electronic if I don't have them already. I have some of my old stuff that I've been converting slowly over the years. But and that's the thing to think about. Most people think, you only think about today, but where I find it more enjoyable is if you can go back to some of the old things that you've done as you're been around. Most of us are gaming, and it's a hobby you keep for a long time. Most people play for many, many years, and if you get into the hobby, plan on keeping it for a long time. And what happens is that backing stuff up means that I could put it on if it's electronic, I can put it on a thumb drive, and I can take it and go drop it off at your parents or drop it off at your friend's house just to keep it. Buy a safe deposit box, put it that way. That keeps your stuff. Whereas with a deck, it's sort of hard to think about keep duplicating that stuff. It says, or just when you move. What is it? 3 moves equals a fire? As that's the phrase goes. And if you move over the years, you end up, what do you do with, you don't want to lose this stuff because you spent many hours involved with this. This becomes a major part of your life over a period of time. Let's be honest, you spend many hours in gaming. If you become a fan, if you're seriously into dungeon mastering, I mean, I cannot say how many years of effort have went into this stack here. And this stack here is much shorter. I think it was actually 2 decks, and this is just half of the dungeon. I read through this and I go, I remember a party going into this one and things like that. And it would be a shame to lose it. That's why I'm moving this over to electronic, because then I can easily back it up. So that's what I think the downside of it is. If you're low on cash, sure, go with it's paper and pencil. It's inexpensive, it's easy, it's cheap, it works that way, but it is just paper and pencil. and you have to realize that it doesn't last as long as if you're put it in electronic where you can make copies of it and move it around. So that's why I discourage that, because you can always, if you get the tablet, if you're hurting for cash, I mean, it's great. But I encourage you to move them to electronic. And if you're listening to this video, you've got access to some computers or something like that. And hopefully you can get a thumb drive or something to put it on. And a 64 gigabyte thumb drive will hold a tremendous amount of Dungeon. I know, I back my stuff up and move it around. I have all my Dungeon stuff on multiple machines. I have it on my I have all my Dungeon and Dragon stuff on this. I have all my Dungeons and Dragons stuff on my desktop, which I'm using here, and then I have it on another box over here. And then I think about moving it off-site, burning it to a DVD or a Blu-ray or something like that, because I actually have quite a bit. So you can get it, so you preserve it for moving on. But what happens is that you can handle a power, you can handle a flood, things like that, because you don't want to lose those memories that are there. And that's the important thing. These become, you spend many, if you're going to create an adventure from scratch, you're going to spend many hours doing that. And you don't want to lose that. And if you've ever lost a dungeon or accidentally thrown a dungeon away, or it got destroyed because of something, the roof leaks or whatever, or water comes in, or the dog ate it, then you get upset. So what happens is the best solution is to move it to electronic where you can move it around. That's why I discourage it, but I understand it's there. I mean, you take it out in the woods with you. I think the electronic is lighter, but that's a different discussion. I've gone on too long, but this is an intro. I thought I saw somebody else mention 3x5 cards, so I thought I'd talk about it. I don't encourage it, but I understand it. I've used it. I've used it extensively. It works. But I think modern technology is a better approach. If you like my video, press the thumbs up button. I'd appreciate that. Or if this interests you, you can always subscribe to my channel. There's a button right above. I look forward to hearing some comments. Tell me what you think about this, and I'll try and reply, and we can see if I'll do some more of these. Thank you.